Yo, what up, YouTube? Kyle here for Boss TCG, your home for competitive TCG news and content. And today is episode technically 1 of Boss for Game, a Pokemon TCG podcast. I got my buddy Matt on today's podcast. How you doing today, Matt?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on the pod.
I am excited. We met, almost a year ago, actually.
Yeah.
Peoria will be our 1 year mark of knowing each other.
That's right, yeah.
It's
that's coming up. That's almost about a year.
That's October, beginning of October. And
Are you going to Peoria this year?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. I am definitely going to Peoria. Are you going to Pittsburgh, the first one of the year?
I am not going to Pittsburgh. My fiance and her family are doing a triathlon, so I'm going to go there and cheer them on that weekend.
Support.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But Peoria will be my first big comp this season.
Yeah, same here. I'm playing Battle Spirit Saga. I don't think I've actually showed you what the card game is, but it's an interesting new card game that came out, and this is our first competitive season. So I'll be in Pittsburgh, but not playing Pokemon, brother man. I will be playing some Battle Spirit Saga, but the season looks super interesting. But the thing I want to go over first is just the topics we're going to go over today. So we're going to react to Worlds, guys. We're going to talk about traveling for tournaments. Also, our favorite regionals locations we've been to. And then, to close it out, we're going to be doing what decks are no-goes for us. Ones we'll never play. I've been playing since 2014. Matt, how long have you been playing?
Since the end of 2012, early 13. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll know the exact decks I'm talking about. Because the deck I will not touch is from the beginning of the XY era. So you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, brother.
Okay.
So
we can go that far back on those. All right,
we can go back. And a lot of decks will always, especially with stuff that has come out as of late, I think Pokemon's bringing a lot of the decks we've loved and that's been popular in the past. They're bringing back in one way, shape, or form. So let's get into this first topic. We're going to react to Worlds. Did you get to watch Worlds?
Yeah, man. It was crazy. I mean, I fell asleep with it on. And I woke up with it, back on. But I watched a lot of it, went back and watched a lot of the video. I fortunately was able to watch the finals and stuff. And
so what's your opinion on that? What's your opinion on the final? Are you glad who won, or are you bummed who won?
I mean, obviously, I'm glad. I mean, it's funny because, my buddy Chris and I, who I play with a bunch, shout out Chris Kemp.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But I was telling him the whole time, I was like, dude, I think Mew could be the thing. But I think we both are like, it's Mew, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it just smacked, it brought down day 2 and did all that stuff. So, I mean, it's not that I'm like, good call. I thought it was a good call. So,
Chris got his invite, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He did.
What did he end up playing? I haven't talked to Chris, so.
Yeah, he played some kind of Arceus Gudra deck that had hammers and stuff like that. It was pretty good. One of the guys that he plays with over in his area.
Energy denial deck. That'd be interesting. I'd love to see his list. I'm gonna have to message him and ask him.
Yeah, it was I think it was a solid medical. I believe that one of the guys posted it up there. That it was the same 60, but yeah, it was good deck for him.
Heck yeah. I would if I was gonna go. I'm sick with the Lost Box, so I would have probably been playing Lost Box with some Dittos in there because I can't get away from bad decks. No, I can't get away from bad decks. I just like to go into take good decks, Sablezard back when it was good, and put in shit cards and and then play that and be like, no, it's not the deck, it's me. I'm shit when it's me and the deck. So so for me, watching the end, I think you've been watching Worlds as long as I have. This is the craziest end to Worlds I've ever seen. Going into turns, and what wins the game? A boss's orders. Boss for game, brother, man. That's where we came up with the name of this podcast and what the company used to be called. We used to be called Boss for Game. So, I was surprised that Mew made it that far, but when you see it against Guardian in the finals, you saw how strong it was all tournament long. So, What do you think about some of the card announcements that they revealed at the end?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think that mechanic that they had with the battle styles with the single and rapid strike was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there's some kind of similarity where it's, hey, the ancient and the future and whatever. I thought that was cool. I loved Ace specs. Bring that computer search price down a little bit, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If they reprint it. But I thought Ace specs are super fun in the deck. I think it'll add some great variety. I think that Scream Tail or whatever seems pretty busted. I'm not gonna lie.
Is that the Jigglypuff? Is that the Jigglypuff one with the amount of damage?
I mean, yeah, because there's that new cape that adds 100 HP.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, theoretically, you can be doing 3-something snipe
on a single prizer. On a single prizer, which is insane. And
yeah.
I'm bringing Ditto in there too because it's a single prizer basic, bro.
Yeah,
like I saw that, I was like, and I didn't see the plus 100 HP. I didn't see that tool. So
yeah,
I'm kind of excited to drop that into Lost
It's plus 100 HP, and then you take an extra prize if he gets knocked out.
Oh, so it puts it to as a 2 prizer. So I'm okay with hitting for what is it? It's 20 times the amount of damage counters, right? Is that what that attack does?
Yeah.
So if Ditto is using the attack, you can have max 6 damage counters because it's 70 HP. So you're talking about 120 damage. Because I play it as like a spread variant, I think that is a good option, but I'm gonna have to really go about it. But I think the future and the ancient typing or whatever you want to call it or variant that they're gonna be bringing in, it's super interesting. I wish they I think a lot of old school players wish maybe, unless they haven't shown it off yet, but bringing back ancient traits. I really enjoyed that back in the day with some Pokemon be able to have 2 attacks, and others I forgot what all the ancient traits. It's been so long. I mean, it's the era.
Yeah.
We're both from that same era. We both started around that same time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were going to be doing with the EX or with the Terra typing. I thought they were going to give each of the different typings different attributes, and it just doesn't seem like they're doing that. But now, how do you feel about it being in Honolulu, Hawaii?
Oh, I mean, great. 75% of my family lives on Oahu, so
oh shit,
I'm yeah, man. So I'm pretty pumped to go see the family and go head out there. I mean, this one's kind of a no-brainer for me. Yeah, I was excited. I mean, obviously, tragic things happening in Maui.
Mm-hmm. How's your family doing, by the way, with that?
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. They're all on Oahu, so I do have some family that is affected over there, but nothing super crazy. But at the end of the day, I think the big thing is just to hey, do some research before you go. You know what I mean? And it's. I think there's always some topics, but it's going to be a great time, and I'm excited to see my family.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I was asking is I know they're not on the areas that are affected as much, but my brother and most of my mom's side of the family live in Michigan, and they're actually affected by the wildfire smoke from Canada. You go over there, and it's usually super clear wherever you're at in Michigan, but has this 70s, 80s smog LA type of feel all over the place, especially later in the day when you have less light coming through, or maybe it's just that's the time that we're getting most of the wildfire smoke from Canada. So that's where I thought maybe you guys they might have been affected as much.
The whole thing. I mean, I just feel bad for the state in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I remember going to Lahaina and on vacation, years ago, and sad. But you know what? I'm excited for Pokemon to experience such a great place, and we'll rock and roll.
Yeah, I also think it'll be great for the island, for the state in general, to recover financially with the amount of people, especially if we have a similar amount of people attending Worlds from this past year attending next year. It'll help the local economy recover a little bit. We're not as big as like the Super Bowl or any of those major sporting events in the U.S., but there's a lot of people that love Pokemon and are excited to travel to Hawaii for the first time in over a decade.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that like people should do their research and they should listen and be open to different thoughts and mindsets on how tourism should be, and because there's a lot of opinions, and I think that like it's easy to just listen to the big mouse or whatever on all that stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it's really important to just listen to what the people have to say and do your own homework on it, and try to be as like caring and sensitive to people there as possible.
I when I originally saw Hawaii, I was like, fuck, bro. Like I looked at flights immediately. You can't look at flights for specifically any time in August right now, at least on Google tickets. I was like, fuck, it's already $1,000 for a ticket out there. I probably by the time Worlds comes around, I'll be able to find it for $700-800, which I mean still a pretty penny. But I started thinking, I'm like, I still have friends because I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps. I have friends that are stationed over in Hawaii right now, so it'd be good to see people I haven't seen in. Dude, I'm dating myself. 2012 or 2013 is when I got out. So at that time, it'll be 12 years. I've been out of the.
Wow.
Dude, I feel old, dude. It's like when you think like, oh, high school, yeah, that was 2009. That was like 15. Oh shit, I'm old. That's how I feel right now. It's like, fuck, dude, I got out of the Marine Corps in 2013, and it'll be like fucking 11, 12 years since I've seen some of these people. It's gonna be insane, but
that'd be good to catch up. Yeah,
dude. I especially if I can get on base, and because I've never been to the base in Hawaii, but I know a bunch of my guys out there. I actually had a buddy just message me. He's like, hey, I know I'm going to be going either to Hawaii or Japan. I think he leaves for his new duty station in March of next year. So hopefully he gets Hawaii. I haven't seen him since 2011, like early 2011 when he got his duty stations flipped. But I'm super excited for Hawaii. Like I said, originally I was like, fuck, because like shit's all expensive over there because they have to ship everything in from the U.S. or from everywhere else. So hopefully I'm not going to be spending $10,000 on this trip. If anything, I'll make sure to buy a $700 empty box and live in it for a week or something like that.
There you go. Yeah. Well, it'll be a good time. I mean, it'll be rocking and rolling.
So. Yeah. So, with that, we are excited about next year. Both the regionals, our Worlds and regionals. And talking about regionals, you've been traveling. How long have you been traveling for Pokemon? Have you been traveling for a while?
There's a plane flying over. One sec.
We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it.
Cut that out.
Hey, I can. We'll do a all quiet on set, and I'll put it over. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, favorite region. Or you've been traveling for a while for Pokemon, right? Or did you just start traveling?
Oh yeah. Oh no, I've been doing it for a bit.
Yeah. So when did you start traveling for events?
I mean, I think that it was like much different in the like when I first started playing. Because like there were states and then there was the regional,
and we had cities and all that shit.
But a lot of them happened at the same time, so it's like it wasn't as necessary to travel to the different regionals around that time. Mm-hmm. So I didn't travel as much then. Like I definitely because I grew up in Seattle. I played in the Seattle scene until about 2015. Which there's some heavy hitters in Seattle. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good scene to be playing in. I mean, so like around then we'd go to Vancouver and to Portland and whatever on that. Yeah. But when I moved to Nashville, that's kind of when the regionals kind of started to be a little more spread out and stuff. Mm-hmm. My first one traveling, because Nashville's so central to many different places.
It was in Indy every year, right? They never put it in Columbus or anything like that, right? It was always in Indy.
Yeah, I think it was Indy in 2016. I think it kind of rotated. I don't really know, but it was kind of nice because like I mean I can pretty much hit any of the regionals within a 6-hour drive for the most part. Like a lot of them. Like I mean, I can Peoria, you can do Charlotte, you can do Knoxville, you can do. I mean, Orlando's a 10-hour drive. You know what I mean? Like Dallas is a 10-hour drive. Like those are longer drives, but like they can be done.
Yeah,
they
it
can
can
be
be
done.
done.
Right?
Yeah, done in a day, and you're not having to have. If you're going by yourself, let's say you had an extra day, and you're like, you know what, we want a vehicle down there. Let's drive down to Orlando. So you could drive down, and your buddies could all fly into Orlando Airport. And they're not waiting. They're not. Yeah, you could leave on Thursday and be there by Friday. Friday morning.
Yeah.
Friday midday, depending on when you leave.
Yeah.
So, what's have been your favorite regionals you've been to?
Yeah. Gosh, I loved Orlando this year. Just because, like, my buddy Tristan came down. We kind of like celebrated his bachelor party a little bit at that time. So Orlando was a blast because the venue I thought was massive and cool.
It was perfect,
a lot of people look back on that. Yeah, I noticed some people had different opinions than I did, but I liked that there was tons of food there. You know what I mean? So it was like we could just kind of stay there and not scramble.
Yeah.
I mean, I always loved Fort Wayne. Just I don't know why. I just like the area. That's where me and Chris met there too. So like that was honestly when like him and I kind of play a lot together.
We met in Peoria, so this will technically.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, I think what was that? That was your guys' friend anniversary, right? Your friend's anniversary.
Fort Wayne was,
and then Peoria. I mean, we weren't friends yet. We just met each other, but this is gonna be our friend anniversary, dude. I'm excited.
That's
for
right.
Peoria.
Yeah, we're gonna have to celebrate. We're gonna celebrate.
Yeah, with a couple of adult beverages, throwing them back at that bar. I went to that restaurant like 7 or 8 times while I was in Peoria. I went like breakfast, lunch, and dinner basically every fucking day I was there. But I didn't know that Peoria had an airport. So So when I went to Peoria, it's right around when we had the hurricane. So I had to leave 2 days earlier than I wanted to, not realizing that because we don't know at that time if airports are going to be back open. We don't know how hard it's going to hit Tampa. So we're like, I'll leave on Tuesday. So I'm like the second to last flight out anywhere. It's like us, and then like you could see the other plane behind us take off, like whatever the safe distance is, and then you look at all the other like planes are just sitting there or whatever they did. Like it's we were the second to last plane out, and I flew into Chicago, rented a car in Chicago, drove down to Peoria 2.5 hours. I get there, I'm there 2 days early. The original hotel I booked was I would rather stay in some hotels in ghetto parts of Detroit, like honestly. My dad lived in Detroit, so I've been at those hotels, the 2-level motels, and I rolled in, and I roll in and I start looking at the walkways, and I'm like every like 50, 60 feet is a dude just chilling. Wearing like red and black or like some sort of substantial red, and then I pull into a spot and I look over. They have like where their honeymoon suite is. There's like 6 or 7 guys out there, and I'm like, "Yo, this is where they're whatever gang they're a part of. This is their headquarters. This is where they do all their deals out of." I pull straight out. Don't even turn the car off. Go onto the road. I have a car follow me for like 45 minutes, so I'm like trying to lose them in downtown Peoria. It was not and maybe I was just super paranoid. It could be that, but 45 minutes with the same car behind you and not putting on your blinker and
a little sus,
a little sus. I've done. I even did where I pulled. There's 2 one-ways, so but there was a bank, so I'm going the one. I'm at the intersection. I go the wrong. Technically, I'm looking for other vehicles. I technically go the wrong way right into the bank and stop and wait to see if he does the same thing. Right when he does that, I pulled or I put it in reverse, popped out the road, went back down, and passed. Found the police station. It was passing there, and after that, guy left me alone. Realized I wasn't a fucking cop. I think that's what it is. But yeah, no, Peoria was insane. I wasn't excited until I realized. I wasn't excited about Peoria until I realized that that's where we met. And now that you're saying that you're going, I'm definitely going.
Oh yeah,
I'm flying straight to Peoria. I'm not driving 2.5 hours from Chicago to fucking Peoria, bro.
Nice, dude. I'm looking forward to it, man.
What is your favorite location? You said you were talking about Fort Wayne and all that, but What's your favorite? If you were going to pick one location you've been for regionals, where are you going to pick?
Is it off the list, like ones that already have had it, or if I could just pick?
Yeah. One. Let's do both. Let's start with ones you would like to have a regional.
Okay. Actually, I think they'd be one and the same. I think my favorite one was Toronto, and I think Toronto. I loved Toronto. I love Vancouver, BC too. I don't know. I love Canada. I guess.
You're Canadian at heart, bro. You're from the the what upper or northwest, so
yeah,
kind of
northwest. Yeah,
it kind of know kind of fits you.
Yeah, had so much fun in Toronto this year. We went. My birthday was around then, so we were able to spend my birthday up there, and gosh, what a blast! I won't be able to. I'll just give it Toronto on both sides.
Yeah, I haven't been to Toronto yet. Originally it was because I didn't have my passport, and then this year, stuff a couple of years in a row hasn't worked out. COVID, of course, but then also last year, just the flights didn't work out. It was just a little more expensive than I wanted to pay. But if I make the Pro Tour, I won't be going to Toronto because I will be in Amsterdam, bro. I will be in Amsterdam.
Oh, nice.
If I make the Pro Tour, we have an event the same weekend as Pittsburgh, in just outside of Pittsburgh. If I get top 32 there, I'm not going to. I'm going to be going to Amsterdam and hopefully come home with 7 Gs. That's the thing. Nice. I think Pokemon needs to do is increase their pricing. But it makes sense when you look at the points this year that they said, like 3-4 weeks back when they put it out. It makes sense 600? Because they're so expensive to get to Hawaii. It kind of forces people. They're like, oh hey, I made the 600 points. We're gonna be able to go to Hawaii. We'll spend the money. But then it doesn't. You're not forcing a huge part of the community to go. But for me. Yeah. I'm not gonna do what you did, where I put one in the same. I would say a place I would love them to have a regionals, and they'll probably never have it because it's not a kid friendly city. But Las Vegas, bro. I would love Vegas, and I don't go to Vegas to get hammered to party. Yeah. I go to eat a very diverse food. I know you were just in Vegas, right?
Oh yeah, I was just in Vegas. Yeah.
Why were you in Vegas? You never answered that question.
I had a layover.
Okay.
And we, my fiance and I, just extended it an extra day.
No,
we're just like, all right, let's just.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you flying from? Where you come from? LA?
Seattle.
Seattle. Okay. Go
Seattle.
back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet.
Mm-hmm. For a wedding, so.
Yeah. For a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, my buddy Tristan. You met Tristan.
Yeah, I met Tristan. Is Tristan the one that with the shaved head, right? Does he have a shaved head? Or no, which one's Tristan?
He has a shaved head. No, that's Bryce.
Oh, I'm thinking Bryce. Okay, because that's who I first met.
The tattoos and.
Okay, I've met Tristan. Yeah, I remember him. I like Vegas just because I used to go every year. I haven't been last couple of years for NAB, which is something that we're both come from the production side of the film industry. So, or whatever the portion of making content, but that's the biggest event every year for the technical side of the industry. Meetings, all that stuff happens, but they always come out with the new equipment. I used to go every year, and I wouldn't go to party. Dude, I'd maybe go take $100 to gamble, because when you're in Vegas, you got to.
Yeah.
And I'd get my free drinks by sitting there. I'd sit at roulette for 3-4 hours just playing roulette, because I'm just lucky as hell with roulette. I don't know how it is. So I'd get my free drinks, but I'm not going out to the clubs. I'm not going to do shots. I'm not doing that.
Sure.
But I go because I love going to shows. I love going to the Vegas shows. I love the diversity of food, especially I'd like to go. Wolfgang Puck popped in my head, but it's not Wolfgang. What's the dude that does Hell's Kitchen? Why am I blanking on his name right now? Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay. I went to one of his restaurants in Vegas, and I'd like to go back, and I'd love to make Pokemon the excuse to go back. So that's the one I would love them to have, because there is a lot of kids stuff to do there, but it's not technically a kids-friendly town, family-friendly. Yeah. So they're never going to have a regionals there. Maybe if like Star City Games has a large event out in Vegas, I might go out for that. But the one I would say, and it's hard. I've been to so many regionals and different locations. It's hard for me to pick one. It'd probably be easy for me to pick, like, for what happened at the regionals, which one's my favorite. But just the location itself. I would say it's between Dallas and Salt Lake City. Dallas because it used to be it used to be Dallas every year. Then it was Arlington last year, and now it's this year it's San Antonio, which
that's wild.
Which is actually
a wild thing.
It's crazy. My uncle's wife, he or she has her kids live down in San Antonio, so it might be cheap for me to go. So I might be going, but Dallas because. I mean, this is going to be a consistent thing for me, but the food in Texas, bro. Oh, it's so good. I love me some barbecue. Oh, yeah. I love me some barbecue. I know your neck of the woods has great barbecue. I know it does, but no, I would, but Salt Lake City was just, it was a blast from when I landed to when I left, and we didn't do a bunch of partying. It was, I think it was more, I'm going to have to say Dallas just because I think I enjoyed it more. I think Salt Lake City was just more of a surprise for me for the location. It was, I thought Salt Lake City, I think it's the same thing that I used to think about Florida and California. I used to think California was the flat one and Florida was the one that was rocky. I thought that, for some reason, it was flat in Utah, and it's not. There's a lot of mountains.
No, the rock area.
I don't know why, dude. It just doesn't click. But I think it was
Salt Lake City is literally right under a mountain. It's gorgeous. Yeah, and all the homies live there. Shout out to the Salt Lake crew. Game Grid guys with Joe and Connie and Nathan, all them. Yeah. They're crushing it over there. So Mark,
And it's
and then obviously the King, Chris Camp.
Oh yeah, the King. Yes, we need to get him a crown, dude. I'm buying one in Peoria.
Yeah, King Chris.
Yeah, I'm bringing him a crown to Peoria. His ass better go to Peoria.
That's the most underrated player in Pokemon right now.
Yeah, and
he's nuts.
I think he can position himself for a top 8 next year. I think I see the improvement every year with him. I actually met him. I thought he. I think I told you about how. I met Chris, right? Do you know how I met Chris?
No.
So we were at Milwaukee was 2 years ago, right before NAIC, right? Milwaukee was the last regionals.
Were you playing Ditto?
No, it was not. Go didn't come out yet, bro. No.
Oh, dang.
But 2 years ago, when we were coming off of COVID, right? Me and Chris get paired up. It's the week before NAIC. We get paired up like around 7 or 8. He was just salty as fuck. But at those last regionals before NAIC, you usually have international players come in, play some regionals because they're flying in from Czechoslovakia and they're here. They're not going to just come for NAIC and then leave. They're going to make it somewhat of a vacation, right? So I see this dude sit. He's already sat down. I come up and I'm like, this dude looks either pissed off or he's not from the U.S. I thought he was from like one of the Baltic countries. I'm like, okay. So I started talking. I started talking to Chris, and I'm just like bullshitting, and I don't get anything out originally. And we're playing. Chris ends up beating me, but at some point in the game, we started talking. I'm like, oh, this dude's American. Like he's not from like one of the Baltic countries. So we started bullshitting. Comes up that that he didn't have a place to stay for NAIC, and that's how our friendship started. I said, hey, dude, come crash with us.
But I think that was when I was taking a little bit of a break during that time. I did take a little bit of a break.
Just came back. Peoria, I think, was your first regionals back, right?
Yeah, I did. I took us all. I didn't play during the pandemic, and I didn't play the year before the pandemic either.
Yeah.
Just doing the band thing.
But yeah, no, I would say... Yeah, like I said, Salt Lake City. We go out on a little tangent, but Salt Lake City, I would love to see Pokemon do it every year, which they should. They have for the last couple ones, but Dallas, just because of just Texas in general, is it's easy to fly into from Tampa. You fly straight into downtown Dallas, take a 10-minute, 15-minute Uber ride over to DFW, get a hotel around there, and then just go into the venue. So that would be what I would pick. But do you have any tips and tricks for traveling to regionals?
Well, here's a trick you don't do. Don't buy the Frontier Fast Pass. That's
you
that's
did
trash.
that last year, right? You did that last year. Right?
I mean, I still have it right now. It's terrible. Like it's I mean, I could go on and on about it, but I thought that was going to be like the solution. Just hey, fly to all the regionals. Like, dude,
you
no.
were excited as fuck when you.
Yeah,
did
it's
that.
terrible. You can't. You have to. They tell you that it's unlimited flights, and what it really is you can book a flight 24 hours before. It's not quite standby, but it's basically standby. And then there's a ton of blackout dates, and usually you can't even get on those flights. Oh, and then you also have to pay for your carry-on, and if you don't pay for it at the gate, it's $100.
Shit.
Yeah, it's terrible.
No, not the play.
Frontier. It's not a shout out for them. Tricks. I mean, I definitely if you can drive, it's nice to have a car. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoy when I can get there a day before and get some solid testing in. I do think that time is valuable, but don't waste it. You know what I mean? Like, it's super easy to go there because you went there. You paid a lot of money to travel and to play. And it's great to sightsee, and I think you should definitely enjoy. That's part of the beauty of Pokemon. Is that you get to go and experience new cities and stuff. And obviously, go have a nice dinner, go do that, but I'm in the mindset of like, hey, get ready for the big event that you just paid a bunch of money to go play in. Go test and get some quality testing in. Don't be like, yo, let me just test this scrub deck before just because I think it could be fun. Like, go test the deck that you're thinking. And I'd say that's a big trick.
If you're going to bring like a super rogue outside the box deck, bring that to the one that's closest to where you live, the one that's going to be the fun one. If you're just going to have fun, bring a deck that you enjoy, but don't bring a scrub deck unless it's the one that's like, oh hey, I'm going to be driving home, it's going to be an hour home, like Orlando. If I wanted to bring like some single prize Urshifu energy denial deck, like that would be an event I would take to, but I'm not taking it to Peoria where I just flew 2.5 hours and then I've paid $500-$600 for the whole weekend to go at minimum. I'm not bringing something that's not going to be competitive.
I'd say, and I know that's not the question you asked. The question just on the quick thing on the thing, it never hurts to crash with a bunch of people, but if you do, make sure you bring some like melatonin or something, because if Poke players snore and you can't go to sleep, it really sucks, and blah, 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 blah. I'll get over that. But to the other point you said, I think that if players are going to go and play a quote-unquote scrub deck, right, make sure that you put in 100 games before even writing that list down and actually testing against meta decks and really ask yourself, did I win over 50 to 60% of the time, and is this honestly that much better? Because I think a lot of times people show up and they're like, oh, I'm just going to try this kind of rogue thing, but they don't put the reps in on it. Like, you've just pretty much, in my opinion, wasted, your flight, your trip. Like, now, if you just went there and you just wanted to have fun, that's a different thing. That's fine. But if you're actually competing for your invite, for example, I'll tell you an exact time that I did this. I learned this season. In Connecticut, like one of the last regionals, I saw a bunch of the players kind of messing around with Galarian Moltres in their Lost Box.
Okay.
And and it seemed good. I mean, Skramansky did like 4th with it at EYC or something like that, or whatever. I don't remember what him, but somebody did like a top placement with a similar list. And so I took the list and I kind of tweaked a few cards. And I started testing. I tweaked it a few days before the regionals because I knew I was like, all right, which we get to the Dex thing. I swore to myself, I'm going to be a Lost Box player. Yeah, that was a mistake. Just play whatever's good in the meta. You know what I mean? Make meta calls. Don't be Now, I can expand on that a little more, but I do think that with the Galarian Moltres, like, I didn't test it enough. And we played a few rounds in the hotel, and I weirdly beat everybody and beat my toughest matchup. And so in my mind, I'm like, this is great. But my testing was based on 6 or 7 games where, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much people were actually playing super hard or whatever. So in my mind, I was feeling super confident, and that was my worst regionals of the whole season. Like, I mean, I went 2-3 drop. I feel the same thing. Most regionals, I didn't. I never got that.
No, you were always on that bubble day 2. Every regionals I've been to with you. I don't think it was the deck, bro. I think it's just because I didn't show up. I think that's why it was your worst. I think it was my fault. You could blame me. Just let's blame myself. It's not your deck choice. But no, I did that for NAIC now it's 2 years ago. I was testing, or I was playing Urshifu VMAX the whole time, and then is it Metagross is the one that what's the V star that takes an extra turn? Dalga. So
yeah.
I was playing Urshifu the whole time. Was the right deck to play. Was playing with Barrels and with Octillery, and then like the night before I switched to a totally different deck. And that's the big thing. It's like, yeah, even if you do bring a scrub deck, do not switch your deck at the last minute, even if it's the best deck in format. But unless you've had reps with a similar style deck.
That's it. Because I was gonna say, I always am against that. Mm-hmm. But this last cut, this month I've won back-to-back cuts here, which was like pretty
behind
sweet.
The 8 ball, bro.
It was pretty good. I'm cooking this year. But I will say, like, I walked in and I was a little late, and I looked around and I won one cup with Arceus Aerodactyl.
Okay.
Which is a sleeper deck. It's super good. Shout out to Nathan and Harrison and Chris on that one. That's a good list. So I took it to a cup one, and I had the same one sleeved up. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to run it back again. But I walked in and I look, and all the podcasts have been talking about Giratina this, Giratina that, like Giratina whatever. And I walk around and I see over like 50% Giratina. And I knew I had two decks that I was pretty comfortable with that one and Single Strike Lugia.
Yeah.
And I know Single Strike Lugia takes like a pretty favorable matchup to Giratina.
It takes a shit on it.
Oh yeah. So I had it I literally had the Aerodactyl list written out. I crumpled it up, threw it away, quickly wrote down my Lugia list 15 minutes before, and then took the cup down.
And then just win the cup. Yeah, I haven't touched a cup yet. But yeah, no, I took it was a Metagross, or I keep saying Metagross, it's not Dialga list, and I played like a 2 best 2 out of 3s with Chris, and then I played a best 2 out of 3 with Matt, and then I played another best 2 out of 3, and I was like 8-3 or 8-4, something like that with the list. So I felt confident. But when you go into a large event, and for me, NAIC, especially after this year, I took for granted that I was gonna be able to get into NAIC, because this year I wasn't able to. So yeah, don't bring when you do all this travel. And yeah. So with that said, I know we're talking about more deck choice in this portion, but that's for me. When you're traveling to a tournament, don't bring, unless you just want to bring that scrub deck as like a backup and test it. Mm-hmm. But like you said, I would say 100 games with the deck before you decide to toss in your bag. Especially if you fly Spirit or a Legion or anything like that, where you have limited bag space, unless you want to spend $80 for a check bag. Not about that life. Yeah, no, I take a Legion everywhere. But I'm lucky because I'm a vet. They give me 2 free check bags.
Whoa,
priority
nice.
boarding, and 1 carry-on. Usually you have one carry-on, and then your personal item. You just have to pay for your carry-on. Well,
we all appreciate your service, man. I mean, I think you deserve that. So
yeah, but I'd also suggest get there, leave Thursday night, like you were saying, to get some quality on Friday, some quality testing.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. If you can take the time off of work, do it. 100%. Mm-hmm. I usually will fly out when I was working in delivering parts. I would fly out Friday night, get there, play 2 best 2 out of 3s. But knowing that I wasn't able to get that whole day of testing on Friday, mm-hmm. I would definitely be putting 200 to 300 games into 1 or 2 or 3 of the decks that I was thinking about bringing, and then making the decision on the plane, and then submitting deck lists. But when I first started traveling, it was before RK9. Remember when we used to have to write all our stuff? So I would write on the plane all my deck lists. I would print out 7 or 8 copies, and I would just write it, look at it, and then make a couple theory changes for the meta. But I'm not the greatest Pokemon player, so take that with a grain of salt. But I would say if you can afford it, fly in the night before or 2 nights before. the event. It lets you see the city a little bit, like on lunch and stuff like that, but also you get to put a quality test in. But we were talking about decks. I like to talk about the topic of what decks are no-goes, ones you will never play. And since you started talking about it, I'm gonna let you start with this topic.
Okay. Gosh. Well, if it's, I mean, right now, I don't love playing the most meta deck. You know what I mean? Because I just don't like playing with the target on my back. But I like playing decks that are in the meta. You know what I mean? So for example, let's just say we're calling Guardy the meta.
Yeah.
I most likely am not going to just play Guardy, right? Like I'll probably play something that either beats Guardy or but I'm not going to play anything super rogue to do so.
Yeah.
I'm just not super big on because I remember with Virizion, I learned this lessons early on playing where Virizion Genesect was the meta deck, and I remember showing up to the Washington State tournament with Virizion Genesect, pretty much how it's supposed to be played. And everybody was playing their Victinis, and you know what I mean, and their grass techs and whatever, and I just got absolutely bodied there.
Yeah.
So it's ever since then I was like, okay, you got to make a good meta call. Previous decks, I never ever wanted to play. I'll say a specific one. So my buddy Tristan, he used to be pretty big time playing with me when we used to play over there. And he had this deck, this eggs loop deck back in the day that, I don't know if you ever saw it. It was eggs and hammers and stuff
when
like
was
that.
this? You said back in the day.
It was 2014 or 15. I think it's 15. I think
it was
right
when
15.
I was first getting in, and that was before we had the amount of knowledge that we have now about different decks.
So it basically what it did was it supporter locked with the executor.
Okay.
I don't remember what set it was from, and then it infinite looped the deck so that you basically just deck them out and hammer them to death, and it's a slow, painful deck. But the deck was probably the most broken deck in the history of the game.
Yeah.
And so he went to a regionals, and he went undefeated day one. And that was when there wasn't day two. It was just cut to top 8.
Yeah.
So he went to top 8. But he had to work on Sunday. And he straight up just didn't go to top 8. And I was
so he just tops 8 and yep, I'm just not going to play.
So he has his top 8 mat, and he doesn't care. And he could have won the whole damn tournament. I kept trying to tell him, dude, just call on sick. Yeah. But he's a good employee. He did his job, so I can't.
Is he still with the same company?
No.
No. He's probably kicking himself in the ass right there.
Yeah, but but I will say that deck, he was trying to get me on it, and I was like, I can't play anything cheesy like that.
Yeah.
I ever since then I was like, I'll never be that top. So I tried to say that I won't not play decks, but there's definitely decks that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean.
You.
I never liked Landorus bats, you know what I mean? But I knew it was good,
Yeah. So for me, it's Night March. Just Night March, because when we both were, it was the same era. So when I first got in, my first I think it was cities, or states. It was my first states was California states, 2014. I think it was February or March, something like that. And then it was right when base set XY came out. So it's two sets later was Phantom Forces, and they bring out Night March, and it's fucking everywhere, and it's whooping my ass every. I mean, I also was playing really crazy, oh hey, let me put 3 Pokemon just to be, or 6 Pokemon in my deck just to be as sacrificial pawns, so I can set up my 2 prizers. That was the theory. I was like a 7-year-old kid playing in a 24-year-old's body, but I will never touch even expanded, when Dallas 2016 I think it is was going on. It was either Zoroark, Zoropod, Zoroark, or what was the Night March was the big one. So any true Night March deck. That's why I was when I saw United Wings, I was it's Night, or no, no, that's more not Night March. That's Beedrill, right? Or no? What's the one that was back when we started first started playing? The one that was for every Pokemon in your discard. Beedrill?
No, Vespiquen.
So I mean, like I might pick up it, but it gives me the feelings of Night March. So like a deck that feels like Night March. So like Lost March, I liked it. I looked at it, I was like, this would be super cool to play. But then I looked at it, I'm like, it's too much like Night March. It's like, fuck this shit. I'm not doing that.
You're not into those, put the Pokemon in the discard and then try to.
No, I think it's just PTSD, bro. I think it's a PTSD thing for me. Like, I think it's just getting my ass whooped for, what, a year and a half with Night March plus. I think.
I played a bit of my Night March, so
No. We probably wouldn't have been friends if I knew you were a Night March player back in the day. No, we're not friends. No, ain't doing it. And then we wouldn't have this blessed friendship that we have. But yeah, that's what I wouldn't do. But it's really any deck that gives me the feeling of Night March. And maybe it's just I have to play decks more, because originally when I saw Lost Box, I was like, and this was when I made the switch to become a Lost Box player. It was between Knoxville and Charlotte's when I made the mental switch. But before I was like, no, it gives me Lost March feels, or Night March feels. I'm not doing it. And maybe it's just like how racists are. They just look at people like, oh, I'm just going to judge you on the color of your skin. I feel like it's the same thing with me with judging Pokemon decks. And I just have this feeling. But once I get to know the deck, then I can make that decision. But I don't care if Expanding comes back. No, I'm not touching Lost March or Night March or Lost March.
Yeah.
Either one. I'm not doing it. But that's the decks I would not do it. It's more of like for me, it's not really an archetype or a specific deck. It's a feeling of a deck that I played against back in the day. Now let's flip it. So what is your favorite? And this wasn't on the list. I'm just going to put this as a topic. But what are decks that when they come out, you're like, I got to play that deck? Like, let's say archetype-wise.
Yeah, I'll give you my top 2 favorite decks of the history of the game. Number 1 was Rayquaza Eels. I mean, period. That deck was sick.
Yep.
It was good. I had a lot of success with that one. I loved that deck. In the same era, I'll give you 3. In the same era, I also loved TDK, the plasma deck with Deoxys, Thundurus, and Kyurem.
Yeah.
That deck was awesome as well. They could both come from the same era. And then, actually, my favorite deck as of recently was Lost Ray. Like, it's not just because it was Rayquaza. I do love Rayquaza, but that there was something about that deck that I think that people didn't have it quite figured out till the very end of the format.
Right.
Like that Fort Wayne tournament.
Yeah.
And like it was such a solid meta call at that tournament. It was so strong. Like if I did not whiff like a few things that day on the day 2, I think I would have kind of gone deep with it.
Yeah.
Because it was never a matchup problem. It was, so I loved that deck. Man.
Yeah.
Loved it.
For me, and we actually have somewhat of a spiritual successor to it, but any deck that's like Archie's Toys, anything with Deluge, being able to just drop a ton of energy and do a ton of damage. I wish we still had first turn supporter rule, so I prefer in those type of decks to go second, just because I can have that feeling, even if it's like the worst. If they say if you go second, you're gonna lose the game. I'll take a couple L's just going second with that deck, because I love being able to wear candy into Blastoise, all this stuff. If we get like an Archie's successor, we kind of have it with the Rapid Strike stuff, but it doesn't help with.
Are you playing Shen Pao?
No, I have. That's where I was going with it. So I haven't played it in real life. I've only played it on PTCG Live. And I really enjoy it. I have a slightly different list that for Peoria I'm between that and Lost Box. And it I might be playing Lost Box in Peoria just because the days with what it has in it right now, because they haven't announced the rotation yet, is numbered. So I might play it, but if I get there, because I'll be putting probably about 300-400 games in each. Well, any changes I make, I'll probably put 300 or 400 games into it before. Like I usually can. My average a week of games is probably about 70-ish games on live. So I could put all this month, the rest of this month in September, I can put in a good bit of time. But Yeah. So any sort of lost bot or any sort of Archie's Archie Stoy style deck, I love.
Yeah.
Anything that, and then the other one I would say is, any single prizer that can trade 2 hits or two KOs for one. So like going with Lost Box is the prime example right now. Being able to take multiple prizes after or take in one hit take multiple prizes, but still sacrificing 2 or 3 prizes and still win that prize trade. That's why I play Lost Box right now, is because I love being able to set up and take, in 2 turns take all 6 prizes when I've given up 4 or 5 prizes before I've taken my last knockout. I really enjoy those style decks. So that would probably be what I would always gravitate towards. I used to be I still, in the way I play my decks, is super aggressive, but I'm getting better at resource management. But yeah, that Fort Wayne regional, dude, I just want to put out there is it was probably the second tournament I've ever had where I think I picked the winning deck, but I just got to either screw with matchups or having people cheat on me and not get caught for it. It happened at Fort Wayne. It knocked me out. I probably could have snuck into day 2. But when I got that fourth loss, it was just game over. Or third. The fourth one would have been kicked me out of points. There's no reason to play. But those are my 2 decks that I would pick. And then the ones I didn't were definitely Night March, because fuck Night March. I hate that shit. So how many events are you planning to go to this season? I know you're saying Peoria for sure.
I mean, a lot of them. I definitely. I mean, the immediate future will be at Peoria. I'll be at Toronto. Sacramento is also pretty much on the table for me right now. Yeah. And then, I mean, the big thing is I'm planning on going to all 4 ICs.
Oh shit! You're going to all 4 ICs? Planning?
I'm gonna try. I don't know. I mean, they haven't announced them yet, right? So I still don't know when they're gonna be. But it's the point distribution for ICs is just. It's like, why would I not? It's like, you know.
You get your 6? Is it 6 or 8 cups? It's 6, right?
6, yeah.
So you're talking about 300 something. What 300 points from cups? So if you just did cups, you used to be able to just do cups and have like an okay finish at regionals or at like the IC that you go to for the year, and be able to make it into Worlds. Not with this points threshold. So, but I might have to go to Latin America depending on when it is. I might have to go to Latin America with you, bro. I was looking at
please take a look.
Yeah, because I was looking at Chile will be the one that I'm thinking about for Battle Spirits. If I don't make it into the Pro Tour, then I'll be going to Latin America. And it's just, dude, if you go to, like, if you're doing any sort of, like, Brazil, Latin America, the flights are pretty cheap. The flights are pretty cheap, and then also the staying there isn't that bad, especially if you split it up with people. So I actually might go to LAIC with you. I'm not doing Oceania. You're going to go to Oceania?
Thinking about it.
I think you're nuts, bro. I can't do it. I can't do that flight. I can't do fuck that. I can't do that flight.
I've never been to Australia. Let's do it. This is the year to do it, man. This is the year for me.
This is your all-in year? Year to do this is your all-in year?
I mean, it's not like all in, but like, I mean, I'm 31, and it's, it's like, I'm not quite settled down. I'm not, I still have, like, I can still be fluid in my life, so may as well do it, right?
Right. Before you guys start having the babies. So I get it. It's this last year was supposed to be my year that it was like going to be easy for me to go to everything, and then I got in a relationship with my lady, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. But still changed a lot of stuff for last season for me. But she supports me on what I'm doing, so she just doesn't want me to do back-to-backs. I did was it Charlotte, and then the next weekend I did Fort Wayne. She's like, yeah, no, this never happened again, and I hate it. I hate being away from home for so long. So. But I think if I'm gonna go to any ICs this year other than NAIC, might be going to EU. I'm like 60-40 going. That's my thought process on it. So definitely, I will more likely be going to EUIC with you, especially with the size of NAIC. Did you go to NAIC?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. How did you do at that event?
5-1.
5-1. Okay.
It was a really heartbreaking. You could play the shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Yeah.
It was. And I had the list. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap it up. Sir, do you want to say anything else to the people out there?
Yeah, shout out again to Chris Kemp, the god, the man, the legend, the myth. Some call him a myth. Some call him a tiger. Some call him that. Other people call him, just a Greek god. Some call him that. So, shout out to him. Shout out to my family, troops, God, Walmart.
Okay, I think you've said enough people out there when you're dropping Walmart out there.
Come on, dude, this is my chance. Yeah, that's it. You can follow me at Matt Bacnis on Instagram if you want.
And I'll link that in the section below, guys. But for me, I was really thankful for Matt to be on here, my boy, our first guest on the podcast. For me, just the only thing I ask, guys, is if you are looking to create content for Boss TCG and want to be a part of a up-and-coming media company, send me an email at bosstcgmedia@gmail.com. And, hey, if you want to come on to Boss for Game or any of our other podcasts, we're actually going to possibly do a segment with subscribers. So send me an email if you are a subscriber, and we might be able to get you on the show. But, guys, until next time, stay awesome, stay blessed, and I will see you later.